Good morning, Kate. How you doing?
Hello, hi, I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. It's Friday, I think.
No,
we-
I know. What day of the week is it? Does it even matter? I don't know.
no, I think it's yeah. I think that's taught us that yeah, it's not it's normal structure to how we do things. So thank you for joining me this morning. It's been lovely to chat to different people, and I wondered if I know what you do, and we've met at a couple of events. I wondered if you could introduce you and your business and let people kind of know how your business has fared during the pandemic. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on and chat today as well. So my name's Kate O'Sullivan and I am the Managing Director and owner of ADPR. We're a communications agency based just off the A303 in between Taunton and Yeovil. The company has actually been running for about 30 years. I started working there 15 years ago in a really junior position, and just worked my way up and then it got to the point where the previous owner wanted to exit, and I was ready for a challenge and could see the opportunity and kind of had a real itch to get involved and change the business a little bit. So yeah, 2.5 years ago I purchased ADPR, and since then we made some fairly big changes to the business. But I guess ultimately what we do is we work with a wide range of different companies and brands, with a view to handling and managing their communications, so making sure that they're growing their business, or raising brand awareness through the power of communication. So it's really about talking to the right people at the right time in the right way, whether that's your internal audiences, external audiences, looking at social media, media relations. There's a really wide variety of different tactics that we use, to help businesses kind of look at what they're doing and make sure that they promote it in the right way. So I guess in essence, that's what we do. And I think one of the things with communications and PR agencies in particular is that traditionally we don't actually have the best reputation. And a lot of businesses see PR really as a bit of an add-on or a bit of a nice to have service. And actually it's so much more than that. And it's something for us, we're always very, very strategic. And for us, we want to be, it's a board level thing because it actually can help and impact your bottom line really considerably. And I think actually at this point in time where people have hit a bit of a crisis, I'm sure there's lots of people sitting there now thinking, yeah, we don't know how to navigate our way through this from a communication perspective.
No, that's great, and I think interesting you said about the add-on thing because I think a lot of people see PR as something reactive, don't they? That you got. Well, I mean, something's happened. We need to get hold of the PR department, as opposed to sort of proactive in having a structure and a strategy in place, whether it be in print or digital. And I wondered if is there certain sectors you work within, or what kind of businesses do you work with?
Yeah, it's really varied. We do have specialisms, and one of those is actually in the marine industry, and that really is a traditional thing. So the previous owner of ADPR was a world champion sailor, so her
Oh, right,
passion was
okay.
very much marine. So that was really our bread and butter, and is still very much part of our business. But we've really expanded that now. So we've got marine, and I think our specialisms have really given us a bit of an edge actually as an organisation, because we are only a small company. There's 10 of us. We're based in a very rural location, and yet we represent some really big international brands. Like we've worked with Garmin and Helly Hansen and really big names, Fairline Yachts, lots of international businesses. And we've learned so much from working on those big brands. And actually what we've been able to do is adapt that and take our learnings from that and extend into other areas. So we now do quite a lot with travel and tourism. So we've worked with Wookey Hole and Clark's Village, and we've got some holiday companies. But we've also worked with loads of startups and small businesses. We've really helped out with digital content as well. So PR is a very transferable thing, but the wide variety of different clients in different industries we work in, I think we learn so much from that.
No, definitely. And I think as a sort of designer myself and kind of sort of in marketing, and that's the nice thing, is working with, ultimately helping people move their business forward. But and you pick up so much from the different people you work with. I think we'd be really good in the pub quiz, where all these random things that you pick up, and how do you know that? Because you get to know your clients, and
Yeah, I'd love to agree with you there, but I'm terrible in a quiz. I just don't retain stuff. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what I'm so passionate about. Actually, is that you get you get involved with so many different types of businesses, and one of my first clients actually used to make exhaust silencers for boats, and you'd think, okay, I know nothing about that. That doesn't sound particularly interesting. But
yeah.
then you go in and you start learning about the business, and all of a sudden you're like, actually, this is so interesting and so amazing, and it just makes it a really varied profession to be in, which I'm sure you find the same as well with the design side.
Yeah, absolutely. I say it's just having that range of different topics, and then you say as things have evolved, with the social strategy, digital strategy for businesses now, how we, even in 10 years where it's gone to, and how important that is, and obviously sort of prints changed, prints evolving, and I mean we've been looking at having magazines ourselves. We're looking at the transition of how we're linking prints to online, and those communications. And I guess you were seeing quite a big shift in your time working there, and how
Yeah.
that's changed.
Massively so. It's a completely different world to what it was, 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago when I first started. And, it would take a whole day to send out a press release because you have to post them all and frank them and send them out. And it's changed massively, and the opportunity there is huge. And actually, that's something else that I really love, because I think, nobody wants to stand still, do they? And actually, when we're in such a fast-paced changing industry, it's really exciting. I think there's two types of people, isn't there? There's the people who are a little bit resistant to change and are a bit scared, and other people who kind of say, this is an opportunity and we can be doing that, and actually what more could we be offering? And that's very much where we sit. And I would say, 5 years ago, we were probably, the majority of the work that we did was media relations, and obviously there's been a decline in print. It still very much has its place.
Yeah.
And so we really had to adapt and move. We're doing a lot more now from the point of view of internal comms and helping companies understand what their value is and how they're trying to sell what they're selling, and what their purpose is. We're doing a lot more of that, and content creation, and so it's actually much more interesting. The opportunities are more varied. So it's a good thing, I think, change.
Well, it sounds great, but I'm thinking, like, if you work with a business that is looking to evolve that team, and I mean, like for myself, we're a really tiny team, but when you start to think on growing your team, bringing people in, then you need to kind of get that out of the director's head, and get it into something that is, comms that people can understand about you. You said your values and your culture, and having something that says this is us, or and having that when you interview people, is saying this is what we're about, this is what we stand for, etc. And yeah, I think that's really important, because I think often people think as PR is outward, don't they, the external comms. Well,
Yeah.
I think I have traditionally, you don't sort of think about the internal, really.
No, it's something that's really been missed, actually, and for most companies, we can say, you can spend a fortune on your external comms and you can get your message out there, but actually, if the people working for you, aren't aligned with your values or your messaging, then it's almost a little bit pointless, because actually the
Yeah.
customer experience, they might read what you say you do, but then often the first person that they're faced with at the business might be somebody who hasn't got a clue about all of this messaging and the brand and what it stands for. So if they can't communicate that, it all sort of falls apart, really. So for us, it's always about making sure that when we're looking at a business, we look at it really holistically, and we look at what all of the challenges are, and then we work out how we're going to overcome those and fix those things, and strengthen a brand as a whole, and then we start communicating it externally, because it has to be true and it has to be real, and there's no point saying that you're the best and that you give the best customer service if
Yeah.
actually that isn't the experience they're going to have when they contact your company.
Yeah, and I completely concur with that. And lots of the people that I work with, lots of startups that say, I need a logo, I'm launching my business. And I get them in and I say, very much of what we do is that consultancy, asking them questions. And I say, well, that's great, you know. And I will, you know, ask them a series of questions and get to know you session. And I will ask them, and I'll say that a logo essentially is a badge that represents a set of values that when people see the logo, they know what you stand for. So what's distinctive about your business? And I asked them, you know, the why and the how and all this. And I have had people in the past who've gone, oh, I don't really know. And I go, well, how can we create some visual brand assets that communicate what your business is about when you don't know? How can we
Yeah.
do that and then put that outwardly? And I think there is that kind of that link. Sometimes people don't see the link between the visual side of the brand assets and also, you know, the thinking and the bit behind that's below the surface about, you know, the culture and all the things that inwardly need to be planned out. You know, and
Absolutely, it's extracting that information from people, isn't it? And we so often find that when you ask the really basic question, which is always why, so many people, you either get, oh, I don't know, or well, it's just the way that we've always done it, or we know it works. And then when you start kind of really, and then you say, yes, but why? And it does, it makes people think, and you can almost see people going, oh gosh, you know, this is a painful experience. But I also know myself, we get so close to our own businesses, and I've had people ask me exactly the same questions, and I've stumbled myself, because it's something that's very easy to do from an external point of view, looking in at somebody else's business, but it's quite hard to articulate that yourself, because your business means something very different to you when you're in it all the time.
yeah, and I think that's particularly true of like if company's looking to rebrand and you ask that question why that you said, and why, and they go, oh, just because I'm a bit bored of it, and you're like, you know, and I'm quite interested in terms of when you've built up that brand equity of people knowing your brand assets and what your business is about. Do you work with people and that process of them wanting to rebrand and the considerations through that? Is that part of what you do?
Yeah, it's part of what we do. We don't, you know, we're brand experts, I guess, but we don't do the design side at all. But what we do is we work with people locally, and our model really is that we can project manage everything that sits under the marketing banner. So if somebody's looking at design, I think traditionally people have used different agencies for different elements of their marketing, and that isn't wrong by any means, but what it does mean is that often those things are working then in very separate silos rather than all linking together. So what we try to do is to provide a solution for our clients that means that we're not diluting our own expertise by pretending to be, you know, design experts, branding experts, all the rest of it, but we can bring in those people who have those specialisms, who fit very much with our values at ADPR, so we know that they're going to do a good job, and then we can manage all of that for the client, so we win the elements of what we believe they need, and that works really well for us, and it also then means we're not having to carry overheads of bringing those experts in and keeping them upskilled all the time.
Yeah, that's excellent. I think, and we've got such a, I think with the rise of, you mentioned Digital Taunton and various events that are coming up, and we've got so many talented people in Somerset, and you know, and the collaborations, particularly at this time where people have worked together and opened up those working relationships, has been brilliant. And I wondered on that, in terms of you have them in an office and the team working now remotely, how's that been, and how's it been with your clients?
Yeah, do you know, it's actually worked really well. And we're all set up to work from home. I'm really proud. I'm really proud of myself, and I'm really proud of the team actually as to how quickly we've adapted. We're making sure that we have a call every morning as a team. We're doing loads of these Zoom calls. We've got our own ADPR pub, which is open every Friday evening, so we always have after work drinks, and actually
Right.
I think we're talking with the team about the things we need to talk about and the important things more than we did when we were in the office. And I think we're there are pros and cons of the office, and I think one of the things that we're really embracing at the moment is the advantages that we've all found, and not sitting in Taunton traffic every day is a bonus. I've got time back in my life. We're able to adjust our working patterns so that we've just got a little bit more time, and actually I think we're all finding that we're maybe a bit more productive, and so I think on the whole that's actually been quite a nice element of the whole situation. You know, whilst it's very sad and there's really difficult challenges, it's been good. But yeah, and our clients seem to have adapted really well. I mean, again, PR and marketing, sadly, as I'm sure you know, tends to be the first thing that drops budgets when times are hard. And I completely understand that with this situation. So we have had to put some contracts on pause. But equally, I think we're offering our clients help and support through the crisis. So yeah, I'm very confident that we will be okay at the end of all of this. But we're going to have to look at our business model and look at different ways of working and different things that we can offer. And I don't actually want to go back to normal or how it was before. I think we need to learn and grow and evolve from this situation.
I think there's lots of great points there, and I think with the the kind of the flexibility you mentioned, and having the impact on the carbon footprint. So if you and I were to meet in the middle of Taunton, and maybe it might take us, we're both having to travel in, have the meet, and then travel back, and then it's the traffic and things like that, and also people being trusted more because you can communicate online as long as the work's done. I think it's having that freedom, and it's forced a lot of people to use things like Zoom where they maybe wouldn't because we've had to, and I think that's been good. And I mean, as much as we miss the face-to-face, there are some really good opportunities for people to adapt. And you mentioned the free support that you're offering to businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when all of this it just happened out of nowhere, really, didn't it? And it probably shouldn't have been a surprise because we were watching what was happening in other countries, and yet to a certain extent it still did come as a surprise. And as soon as it happened, it's really interesting because I think actually what it did is it made people think about what they really stand for and what they really believe in. And whilst yes, I was scared about my business, of course, from a commercial point of view, it's a scary time, but actually somehow that didn't seem quite as important as being able to do what we love doing and be able to offer support and continue to build those connections. And as you say, there are so many talented people and businesses in Taunton, and actually we want to see those companies survive, and we want to help, and so that it felt like the least that we could do to actually say, look, we do have some time on our hands here. We're not representing as many clients as we normally would. So what can we do that's actually going to be beneficial? And it seemed that the best thing to do would be to offer free support. So essentially, it's open to any business, and they jump on a call with us. We have a look particularly at websites, social media channels, and your current communications, and then we'll send you an email with some quick wins and quick recommendations of things that you can do to help navigate yourself through this crisis. And it's kind of a little bit of something for us. It's not, but actually the people we've spoken to have gone, wow, there's some things there that I just really didn't think of. So for me, it's about the longer term picture of developing relationships and building those relationships now, because we really will all be stronger at the other end of this if we all work together now.
Yeah, and I think that's been great to see everybody, let's say, collaborating and offering their help and expertise to all look after each other as much as we can. And I often saw you mentioned about often the marketing and the promotion side obviously takes a bit of a back seat, but obviously the communication's key to keep that going and keeping in touch with your clients and customers. But as certain sectors of business start to go back to a normality, I almost sort of feel it's like we're like a Formula One pit team waiting for the next business to whiz in and go next, and they go and get their messaging out there. We're open, let's and help all those people. So as much as it's been a horrendous time for lots of people, I think it's hold on to those positives, those opportunities, and ultimately wanting to help each other. And it's going to be an interesting time the next 18 months to see how it all goes. So.
Yeah, it will, you know, and commercially, I'm under no illusion that it's going to be difficult. But I think there's so much more than, it's about so much more than money, isn't it? You know, yes, we need the commercial element of our businesses, but actually, I think it's going to be a really good time for everyone to think about what they really want from life, from their business, from their job, and that's quite exciting to me, I think.
And I think, yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe some people will, it is their chance to say, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to start my own business. You know, there will be, you know, sadly, we're going to lose some along the way. But if it inspires people to connect and have more conversations where it encourages people to sign up, that would be, you know, would be great to see. I've loved
Yeah,
chatting to you today. It's been really, really good. And so thank you for your time. I'm just going to end on the question I ask everyone. So if you weren't in PR and communications, what would you choose to do instead? Or if you're in your dream job, which I'm sure you are, what were you told you might go on to do when you left school?
yeah, good question. Well, when I was younger, I first of all, I always wanted to be a vet. That was my, you know, I want to be a vet. I loved animals, wanted to be a vet. Then I kind of realised what was involved and thought, actually, no, I'd be a really terrible vet. But my other passion was writing. It's something that's always driven me. And actually, one of the things that's come out of this is that I'm focusing more on my writing, and I want to really get back into it. So my absolute dream, I suppose, would have been to write a bestseller. Hey, I'm sure lots of people have the same thing. But where I feel incredibly fortunate is that I've been able to use that creativity and to use my writing, and writing is about communication, and actually to put that into a career. And I feel really fortunate that I've been able to do that. And you know, if you'd asked me 15 years ago whether I'd be sitting here in this position now, I would have said no way. But it's funny how just following an organic path sometimes leads you to the right destination, I guess.
Brilliant. That's so nice to hear. A nice point to end on. It's been, yeah, lovely chatting to you. Hopefully we'll see you soon at some of the events that come up.
Taunton, hopefully. I know they're doing loads of online events, aren't they? So yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, it's thank you very much for having me, and it's been really great to chat.
Brilliant. Have a nice weekend, because it's the weekend.
Yeah, Friday. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.